Hello, Monday the 25th of July. Welcome to this week's Musings. I'm recording them this week, and from now on they will be recorded as opposed to live, just due to the new working commitments that I have, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. How are you? I hope you're well. I hope everything has been going well for you since last week. And that you've had a good weekend and are ready for a brand new week. So here we are again with the cards, and this week I have also used the Tarot of the Old Path, the tarot cards that I used last week. But before we jump in, this week, the cards are talking about being recognised for your efforts, about finding some inner strength, and about finding some balance. So before we jump into them, I just want to give you a few wee bits and pieces of background information as to what's been going on behind the scenes at Rocks and Rituals, which might help to lay the foundations a little bit for what's shown up in the cards. Because as always, whenever I'm reading the cards for you, because I'm pulling them, there will be some element of what's going on in my life that filter into these cards. And again, this week I can see it, but I share them in the hope that something in the cards will also resonate with you. And I'm always very aware that it may not be all three cards, but perhaps one of the cards or a particular phrase in the blog or in this video reading or in the pod if you're listening on SoundCloud. There'll be something in it somewhere that might speak to you. And sometimes that's all it takes. Okay. So behind the scenes, let me share what's been going on in the background. Over the last few weekends, I've been doing some external qualification work in emergency response first aid. As most of you probably know, or if you're new here, maybe you don't know, but I volunteer for St John Ambulance as emergency ambulance crew. However, for various different reasons, the training within St John is only recognised in St John. It's not actually recognised externally. So as a first aid trainer, it's important for me to always have an externally recognised qualification, so a first aid at work certificate and or something above that. So I got my first aid at work certificate as I have for my training work that I do, but also I was working then on getting my FREC 3, which is first response and emergency certificate level 3, which is great, and it was great fun. We had great simulations, and I just wanted to give a shout out to WRT UK, who were the training provider. Based in the Harbour Estate in Belfast. Wholeheartedly recommend them. Absolutely awesome, brilliant simulations and really, really good fun. So if you're looking for externally validated higher level qualifications, absolutely give Simon and the guys a shout at WRT UK. You can Google them and I'm sure they'll jump up for you very quickly. So that was really good. And, part of that was for me to, I don't know, sometimes you feel that you need maybe some sort of validation for your skills, and I just wanted to have the piece of paper really to say that, I had that, even though I have the skills from being within St John. So I'm also preparing as well behind the scenes for the autumn and winter schedule for Rocks and Rituals. And as I mentioned last week, I work in seasons. And for me, as I approach the autumn season, as I sort of can see September and October on the horizon as we rapidly approach the end of July, I can feel my energy rising a little bit, and I can feel the excitement for the magical season of September, October and Halloween starting to encroach on my horizon. And as a result, I feel energized. And I know that not everybody has that. I know a lot of people feel more energized in the summer and less so as the light fades. But as I said last week, I find very much the transitionary seasons to be more magical. And as a result, I get a little bit more energy. So I'm preparing for the autumn and winter schedule of events. Primarily what's coming up, what's starting again in September will be tarot classes. And I would really love to see as many of you as possible on those, just even from the point of view of understanding that they're not scary devil cards. They're actually cards for intuitive development and to help you really understand what's going on within your own self. They're not, I don't teach them as tools for fortune telling in inverted commas, because I don't like that. So if you have a wee look on the website at the events page, or if you have a look even at the tarot workshops page, you'll find all the information about the tarot classes. They've been revamped and they'll be starting again in September with 3 live full day workshops and then 6 2-hour follow-up online classes. So it's a kind of a hybrid learning environment for people, and I would really love to see as many as possible on it. Ping me a wee message if you want some more details, and I'll send you the info. Or as I say, you can find it on the website if you wish. What else is coming up? September also sees the start of the Shamanic Practitioner course, the Medicine Wheel, and again, looking forward to seeing as many as possible on that. All these classes do depend on numbers, so again, if I don't get enough numbers, then they'll either run online or they'll just not run. But I would really hope to see as many as possible, and there has been a good wee bit of interest in both classes, so I'd like to see you there. And the Reiki classes continue on as well. I actually on Friday, I actually printed out the 2023 calendar and started to block in dates for 2023, and I can't believe that I'm actually at that stage in the year. I was speaking to my partner and just saying the year has really flown so far. So how are you fixed with that? How are you finding the speed of this year? Can you believe that we're actually approaching the end of July? So this is our last week in July, and the cards this week have really started to speak about a few things about balance, about finding inner strength for balance. So I'll show you the cards quickly here for those watching on the video. So the first card that came up is the Six of Rods. I'm using Tarot of the Old Path. So the Six of Rods depicts a man on horseback. It's very red and orange in colour. The horse has got, it's dressed in various orange and red and yellow banners, and the man riding the horse himself is surrounded by the wands, surrounded by the rods. He's moving forward. It's not a typical representation as you would find in the Rider-Waite, but it's very similar. So the Six of Rods was the first card that came up. The second card that came up is the Strength card, depicting a woman on lion's back. And we'll talk a little bit more about the symbolism and that later. And then the final card that came up was the Queen of Pentacles. So these are our cards for this week. So let's dive in and have a wee look and see sort of what they're saying. And again, take from this what you will. It may simply be one phrase, or it might be the whole message that speaks to you. The Six of Rods really is about being recognised for achievements. It's about publicly perhaps being recognised, maybe with an award or a certification, or it also might be just simply a pat on the back for a good job well done. But it's important that you allow yourself to receive that praise. It's allow yourself to receive that recognition. Going back to what I said earlier with regards to the first aid work I was doing over the last few weekends with some of my other colleagues, to actually achieve the externally recognised and a recognised qualification, exams had to be done, there was study had to be done. It wasn't wasn't overly difficult because it was something that I do regularly with St. John, so I had that background training, but at the same time there was work had to be put in place. So I was really pleased with myself for actually passing and getting through the certification yesterday. So this is why I think this card has popped up, particularly for me. It's about allowing myself to receive that recognition. But for you, I'm asking you, where have you worked hard? What have you been working on recently, or what have you been doing? It doesn't have to be work related. It can be maybe in a relationship. Has something gone really well now and you're recognizing the fruits of your labor? You're recognizing that you've managed to come through perhaps difficulties and are coming out the other side. So it's also about being mindful. This card reminds you that it's so easy to get scattered and to be distracted, and then to not actually achieve things that you set out to, because your energy's sort of dotted all around the place. So it asks you to focus on one thing at a time, because by focusing on that and minimizing distractions, you then achieve what it is you set out to achieve. Now, I'm as guilty of that as the next person. I have so many interests and so many different things that I like to do to spend my time that sometimes I do get distracted, and I do find myself going off on a tangent down a particular path, and then I'm not sure why I've ended up down there, and I'm like, why? What am I doing? This is taking me away from what it was I was wanting to do. So I have to be very careful and very mindful of understanding why I'm doing something in a particular way. What's the purpose of it, and what will it lead to? And it's it may be that it leads to simply having more fun It might be that it simply leads to having a bit more balance in life. It might mean that it gives me a certification. It might mean that it gives me, a career opportunity. Maybe any of those things for you. So this card reminds you to focus on one thing at a time. There's so much going on as well around us that it's really easy to be distracted. The other thing about this card is the recognition. Sometimes when we work really hard for something and then we get it, and we then get recognized for it, that we start to get imposter syndrome. We start to get the, oh, am I not good enough? I'm not good enough. Oh, I don't deserve this. Oh, I'm a fraud. And you start to think you can't do it. You start to think that the recognition you're getting is completely unwarranted and that you don't deserve it. Well, let me stop you right there. Okay? You are worthy. You're worthy and you're good enough. And this card is a reminder that you're worthy and that you're good enough. Hard work, determination, and focus gets you closer to your goals, gets you closer to whatever that goal may be. As I've said, it can be work, it can be romance, it can be family, it can be personal, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be one particular thing, it can be a multitude of things. But by focusing on one thing at a time, minimizing those distractions, and then starting to look around and say, well, who was my team that helped me with this? How did I manage to achieve these things? Because quite often we don't do these things on our own. I often say when I'm teaching tarot, don't forget, he's riding on the horseback here, but don't forget about the horse. The horse is helping him move forward, so don't forget about the people around you who facilitated your journey to success or your current progress, your friends, your family, those who assist. Make sure to be grateful and to thank those who have helped you. Take time to remember those who have helped you along the way and to show gratitude and to share the love. Okay. The Strength card then is the second card that's come up. So the Strength card in this deck depicts a naked woman on the back of a lion, sunshine in the sky, trees in the background, and she's holding the healing symbol, the caduceus, with the snakes wrapped around it, and an infinity sign above her head, and a little, if you look very closely at the card, those are watching, a little medicine wheel symbol on the caduceus, so a little bit of the shamanic medicine wheel there. This card has shown up for me a few times recently. I've been doing some inner work and some readings myself, because that's why I like the tarot, because you can do some self-analysis and you can make decisions using the cards, and they can be very beneficial. And this card has shown up a few times for me over the last few weeks. The Strength card in this one, she has subdued this lion through quiet inner power and strength. So it reminds us that strength and power does not have to be loud. It doesn't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be in someone's face to demonstrate your power. In fact, quite often, quiet assertiveness is far more powerful than aggression, because it's a different vibration of energy. So it's a reminder. Excuse me, let me just get a wee drink. It is a reminder that your instincts, the instinctual reactions you might have, there's something that might push your buttons and provoke a rage reaction. And that's an instinctual reaction perhaps. But you can choose how to express that anger, that rage, that strength, that power. You don't have to be ferocious with it. And quite often a measured approach is more beneficial for you and those around you. Same as you don't have to, if someone's aggressive with you, you don't have to meet that aggression head on. You can deflect it, you can calm it down. You know yourself, if someone shouts at you and you shout back, it just escalates the situation. This would be something I would talk about during Reiki class whenever we're talking about the philosophies and the principles. Just for today, release anger is one of the founding principles of Reiki healing energy. So it's a very important skill to learn, to be able to diffuse situations through quiet inner power and assertiveness rather than aggression. So I think this card's really reminding you to stand in your own power, to stand in your strength, to shine your light. The world can feel like a really difficult place, particularly at the moment. There's political upheaval, there's climate chaos going on, there's floods in some places, wildfires in others, there's wars, there's unrest, there's pandemics, there's all this stuff going on, financial instability, lots and lots and lots and lots of fear and negativity out there. And it can be really easy to get sucked into all that. The media love to feed that fear factory. You know, don't buy into this. Turn it off. Okay? Shine your light. Change in the world starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with each single one of us. If each single one of us took responsibility for how we shone our light into the world and how we behaved and responded and acted, it would be a very different place, wouldn't it? Just think about that for a moment. If every single person paused for a moment before they spoke, paused for a moment before they acted, and then spoke and acted with love and kindness rather than fear, negativity and aggression. Can you imagine the different world we would live in? It would be amazing. So it starts with us, because then energetically your inner strength radiates outwards, causes that ripple effect that I talk about sometimes. You know, speaking your truth encourages others to find their voice and to feel safe to express their truth. You know, acting with integrity, doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. That's really important, and that makes a difference. So this card, the Strength card, reminds us of all those things. It reminds us that when times are tough, you might have to dig deep. You might have to look for that inner strength sometimes. You might feel it has deserted you, but it hasn't. You know, reach out to friends and family if you need to. Speak to a professional if you need to. You know, do things that feed your soul. Take a step back off the precipice of the busyness and find 5 minutes. You know, connect with yourself each day, even if it's only for a minute or two, just to breathe and connect. I literally spent 5 minutes in an energy boosting meditation this morning where I simply breathed and re-oxygenated my body. 5 minutes. Before it, I felt quite tired. After it, I felt amazingly alive. 5 minutes, that was all the difference. That's all the time it took, and the difference it made was amazing. You know, so set intentions for your day. Think about why you're doing the things you're doing. Coming back to the 6 of Rods, you know, why are you on the path that you're on? What purpose is it serving? Are you ready to accept the rewards for the work you've put in? You know, lean into the strength that you need to balance that work and that activity with your inner self-care. Okay? One step at a time. You can do this. You don't have to know the whole picture. Just take the next step. Finally, then we have the Queen of Pentacles. So this woman's a typical working mother. The card depicts a woman holding a great big pentacle. This card in this particular deck is very green, very earthy, lots of wheat and flowers growing around her. Very typical of the earth energy and the element of earth, which Pentacles represents. You know, so she's a typical sort of working mother, you know, archetype. We have got, you know, she's nurturing her family at home. You know, there's cooking, there's providing stability, there's nourishment of food and of warmth and of shelter and of hugs and of being a stable environment, providing love, nourishment, encouragement. Okay. But she's also perhaps having to work to provide financial stability and bring the money in to keep her family safe and secure, to keep the roof over their head. You know, so it's the essence of this card is that balance between nurture and home life and work and abundance and money. Because we all need, you know, whether you like it or not, we all need money to survive. We all have to pay our bills. We have to pay our mortgage or our rent. We have to, you know, we have to live. We have to eat. I remember laughing. Saw somebody one time had posted when going for an interview, and the person says, "Why do you want this job?" And you know, the answer is, well, I'm really passionate about affording food. You know, and at a recent job interview, I actually wanted to say that. I didn't, but I really wanted to say it, because really, that is the reason why most of us take extra work or take jobs on. But this particular queen represents financial stability and abundance, earthy energy. You know, the security and stability in the material realm, this realm that we live in. Okay. There's also love, kindness and compassion and nourishment and nurturing in this card as well. So it's about finding that balance. And sometimes you need to dig into the inner strength again to find that balance. Okay. She knows, this queen knows how to find the balance between work and play, how to find time for others and time for herself. I have said this repeatedly and will continue to say it. You cannot give from an empty vessel. If you are going to make someone a cup of tea, you fill the kettle first. So you are the kettle, fill yourself first. You need self-care in order to be able to serve others. And this Queen of Pentacles knows that, and she has got this nailed. Okay. She also knows that sometimes she has to dig really deep to survive. She's also really proud though of what she's achieved, and she's not afraid to accept the recognition. So thinking back to this Six of Rods card, she's happy to accept the recognition, and it's okay. So accept those compliments, accept the praise, accept the pat in the back. You're allowed it. You've done well. Be proud of yourself. Give yourself a pat in the back. Dig into your inner strength and find that balance. So I think the cards this week are just asking you, do you need to find balance? Is there an area in your life that's slightly out of kilter that needs some attention? Is it all work and no play? Is it all worry and no fun? Do you need to take some time out? Do you need to recognize your achievements? Maybe list all the things that you're grateful for. Be thankful for your blessings. Think about all the good things you have in your life. Just some ideas. What feeds your soul? What makes your heart sing? Do more of that. Do more of that. Help other people. It's always very helpful. Feed your soul, not feed your inner strength. So I hope these cards have resonated in some way. I know they've definitely resonated with me. As I say, from next week, I have had to take on some additional work. I'm affected by the cost of living increases just like everyone else. And I've taken on some extra work, which starts from next week. So as a result, I will have to dig deep to find the balance, to still find the time to do all the various things that I like to do, and to still manage to serve you guys, to provide the weekly musings, and to provide all the training and other services. As I said before, and as you know, my daughter Shannon has come on board to offer Reiki services, and that's been an absolute godsend. She's also training in crystal healing, and I can't wait till she gets her certification wrapped up, because she'll be able to take those on as well, and it'll just be fantastic. But I am still here. I will still see people, as you know, but it's just about finding the balance. So let me know, did the cards speak to you this week? What small steps are you going to take to address the balance in your life, and what have you done recently that you're proud of, that you're happy to accept recognition for? And make sure that you accept that recognition, because you are worthy and you deserve it. And I will see you again next week.